Internets, hello you lovelies. Let's talk about the Creature Commandos finale. This show has ended so beautifully, and I'm very excited to talk about it. Please, if you're not yet subscribed, hit that subscription bell. I am really enjoying growing my own personal page. You probably know me from all corners of the internet, but this means a lot to me that you're here with me. I cover comic books, the books themselves. I like to talk about the comic book news as it breaks, as well as do comic book reviews every single week. I also do lots of movie reviews and TV reviews right here. So if you like pop culture, please join this page. Also, please hit that like so this video does well in the algorithm, and please leave a comment below. Let's discuss Creature Commandos Season 1 in its entirety, and specifically on this video, the finale. All right, without further ado, the finale. Full spoilers. I love that I got exactly tricked, directly tricked, the exact way I want to enjoy a mystery. The entire season, I kept wondering, is Princess Ilana good or bad? Is it a double blind? Is it a single blind? Is it obvious that she's the villain, so therefore she isn't? Or is it the duplicitousness we got, which I loved? I loved that I was guessing right up until I saw the shimmer in her eyes, and I was like, oh, and then she got out all doe-eyed. The validation of the double of twists, I love that so much. And speaking of that scene, James Gunn did it again. He is so good at manipulating expectations and playing on emotions like an orchestra that I thought the only character that was safe was Nina, because she hadn't had her flashback yet. And then in the episode that endears us to her even more than we already were, impossibly, then he kills the one character that was truly good. And I really love the way he identifies with underdogs. I love the way that he identifies with people that are ostracized, and he uses that as a strength. And this whole show is about perception, about strength, and about how what a monster is. And I feel like growing up a comic fan is such a different thing now, but I love that he, growing up a comic fan, has used that to make these beautiful stories with characters that would never be adapted otherwise, and showing that people are so misunderstood and judged, and what you look like and how you seem is not necessarily who you are. And to tell that through a fish woman, to tell that through this character that we've had this compulsion to love, the sheer emotionality in her voice, the innocence, the earnestness has been amazing. And then we get validated with a finale that shows why she's always seeking to bring people in, why she's always felt like this in such a beautiful way. And then we kill her father right in front of her eyes, making her feel more like a monster, that like responsibility, and why a lesser person might have hated all people. And then the moment where the bride accepts her as a friend and then turns the phrase of monster as a camaraderie, as one of us. The found family element of James Gunn, so strong here. I love the mislead of Frankenstein, who's pursuing the bride the whole season, and then he's shot and taken out, but he's been hunting her for centuries. So of course, post-credit scene is pieced back together. It's business as usual. That's how it's going to be. And he's even more insane. He thinks like, well, you know, she wouldn't have been that passionate about killing me if she didn't love me. All of this, every bit living up to the arc. I love that we didn't have Rick Flag come back, because if you fight Clayface and you're a human, not a superhuman, it's gonna mess you up. And I love that he stayed messed up. He woke up, had that one, moment that saved the day, but still stayed off sides. I love the bride becoming our leader of this new team of Creature Commandos. I love that Dr. Phosphorus is actually a villain, like threatening to kill Weasel. I was so worried for Weasel. I was really afraid Weasel was the one that was going to bite it, and it's also very intentionally set up. It is an entire experience of making your emotions like look left when you're going to go right, and right versus left. And I think that James Gunn has really found a way to tell a story that endears you to characters you would not normally care about, and tell bold, weird stories that would never get made without the DC umbrella, without these IP of characters. And I love that something this weird kicked off a greater universe. I love that we got Easter eggs that didn't feel like needle drop, stop the moment. Like there was no mic drop. It was just like Star City exists. Just like if you watch the new Chicago exists, and Metropolis is named, Bloodhaven is named. Those things that build a world out without it being like, woo, Easter egg, are what comics feel like. It's fun and exciting and unique, and I really love that the show sprinkled in other heroes, but it always felt like Creature Commandos. I love that what we got from each of their arcs was so true to how we met them and how it started. I love that by the time we got to the end, like the validation of killing Princess Ilana felt so fulfilling and earned. And the bride is such a captivating character. Frankenstein Girls Will Be Strangely Sexy is an album I really dig, and I didn't piece together till the finale. Like, the bride is so hot, and there's this oddness to that attraction, and it's so fascinating that you're compelled to really feel like you know these characters. And it's so fun that this universe starts animated, because they could tell this extraordinary story that would feel insane in live action or animation, but in live action, it's a little bit more of a leap, I think, visually. Like, I think Hellboy really works, but it's so much finesse to get there. Now that we've met Frankenstein and the Bride and Dr. Phosphorus, when we see them in live action, they're going to feel like homecoming. They're going to feel familiar, even if you just met them 7 episodes ago. I really, really dug the whole season. I really, really dug this finale. Opening with, the will they, won't they of what's going on with her, the pursuit. I love Phosphorus's powers being used so mercilessly. The moment where he rips through the guard's jugular and the puff of smoke comes out. I love that I was worried for Weasel the whole time, and I shouldn't have been. I should have obviously seen it was Nina, especially in the flashback. I love that each of the flashbacks were slightly different stylistically. It wasn't over the top, but it definitely felt like issues of a comic with maybe a different inker, maybe a different penciler. But hers was so blue and shimmery, and the ethereal quality, and the stylistic editing and pace, and slightly harder edges of Phosphorus, and Frankenstein's, it was a bit more like fantasy and atmospheric, and they really nailed the issues feeling different without it feeling like it didn't belong in one collected graphic novel. And by the end, I cannot wait to see these characters in live action. By the end, I went from interesting choices into, oh, I'm really enjoying this as a show, into I cannot wait for what's next. It really got me throughout. The comedy was genius. It stayed as strong as it needed to, so the heart could really work. The heart was absolutely there. I was so invested in the death of a person who had gills, and the backstory with her dad. I love that the mom, we obviously are but where she was coming from isn't, it's not fully, it's monstrous, but it's monstrous with a side of I get where she's coming from, which is great writing. Frankenstein stayed hilarious. He only had a few lines in this episode, but they were genius. His monologues are always absolutely delightful. His moment of epiphany is just so powerful. It just really, really works. This is how you start a universe. This is how you tell a ragtag group of characters story. This is how you build out immediately. I love that everything is already so established. I love that everything just feels like it's already happening. Even at the school, people are used to seeing the odd. And Gotham felt so different than what Star City looked like, than from wherever we were, and the Amethyst Knights. There feels like culture is already established, which again is what comics feel like. So it did it. The finale absolutely landed for me. I got tricked. I didn't expect to love the character even more, and of course that's when you kill her. Didn't expect to think the Bride could be more badass, and of course he was. Didn't think Phosphorus could get cooler while still being an absolute villain, but he was. Didn't think I could love Weasel more, and I do. And I didn't think Frankenstein could get funnier, and he did, while still being an absolute piece of crap stalker. And I love that he got taken out just like that, because again, that dance for centuries really worked for me. I would love to know what you guys thought, what your experience was. I would love to know if you want to see any of these characters in Superman, if you want to see them anywhere else in this. I want to know what you think is going to happen with Waller having run another squad. Now she's canonically run Task Force X as well as Task Force M. She also knows that she can be tricked. I feel like that's such a hard pill for her to swallow. I love the dynamic between her and the dude from Peacemaker and how that really worked out. I love her relationship with Rick Flag. I think this really enhanced my experience with Waller. I'm excited to see more of that. I'm really curious where that comes into play with Argus in Superman, which is our next property, why I'm mentioning it a lot. I'm really curious, now that we've established this as a long-form show, how Lanterns feels, because that's going to feel completely different, but like it would belong in this universe, I hope and assume. Not long after we get Supergirl, which is going to tie beautifully into Superman. There's so much to come out of this insane universe. And again, I do think it's going to be a mix of mediums. And again, I think there's about twice as much we don't know. There's a lot of announcements that James Gunn said, these 10 are what we announced, but there's more coming in this Gods and Monsters saga. And now the monsters element makes so much more sense. I just put that together. It's called Gods and Monsters. We met monsters first, and next we're meeting a god. Some people would perceive Superman as a god, and that is literally what the chapter is in this moment. I somehow hadn't put that together until right now, and it just hit me. So what an experience, what a time, what a debut for a universe, what a show. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. Did you see Nina going? Also, the inversion of expectation with what it is to be a monster is really interesting in an era of people hating each other and judging each other, and really interesting in an era of othering people. So it's really cool to see a literal team of monsters welcome others in and also protect each other, and what it's like to see people hate and how violent that is. And it's ever more topical to feel othered and to feel like a monster and to feel like no one welcomes you in. And this beautiful little group of commandos, this team, this family, what a time. Loved it. much love to what DC has built, to these characters, to all the comic creators that worked on them, to all of the writers and artists and inkers and letterers and everyone that put these comics together that inspired this, to all the animators that worked on this show, to James Gunn himself, to the producers, to DC for shepherding this new universe in so boldly and weirdly. Thank you. This was insane. Again, let's have a conversation in the comments below. Please leave a like on your way out. And if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscription bell. I appreciate each and every one of you. Let's talk in the comments. Creature Commandos, season 1 of hopefully much more. Much love. Bye, guys. Oh, hey, it's Greg. Cameo. Post-credit scene. Well, there's my thumbnail.